them at some point of time. So if I ask you, generally, if the child at some point of time when it was quite young, or rather in the later parts when it was in school, old enough to understand everything, if a child drops a glass, what do we do? Different things for all of us, right? Somebody might spank, somebody might scold, somebody might just, hey Bhagwan, fir se kar diya, and sit aside. All of us have different reactions. Now tell me something, were we really thinking about it before doing this behavior? No? Then what happened? Whether it was a reaction or a response, irrespective of it was a reaction or a response, it came about from the fast processes that happened instantaneously at the back of our mind. Does that make sense? Yes? That is what we call as workings of the unconscious brain. So these thought processes, that is what we also refer to in one sense as programming. Now when we say that your brain, if you look at it, our brain is more like a computer. Over the years, through all the different inputs we have had, our brains have been programmed in a certain way. And the moment it receives some data, it starts some programs in the background and comes to a conclusion and exhibits the behavior that it thinks is necessary at that point of time. That is precisely what NLP likes to address. Now tell me something, if I'm shouting at a child, is it right or wrong? Wrong? Neither. Okay, brilliant. Why neither? Alright, brilliant. Now let me put the same example into another context. A child is crossing the road, there is a bus coming fast along, and now I am shouting at the child. Is it right or wrong?
Wrong. Right. Wrong.
Maybe we could look at it in different ways. If the child stops and doesn't go in front of the bus, I was right. If the child doesn't stop, was distracted, starts looking at me and still continues forward, it is wrong. What we are trying to say is, all that we do, we try to compartmentalize it in either right or wrong. Whereas if you really look at it, it is very situational.
Finally, the recipient has to decide.
Absolutely. Finally, the outcome will decide whether that was right or wrong for that particular point and for those people who are involved. There can be no universal rights and wrongs, is what NLP believes in. And this is precisely a result of all that we have right now discussed. These are just definitions. I will not go into them in detail unless you want me to. Do you want to go into the definitions in detail? No? Brilliant. Now, in NLP, there are three things that are extremely important. One is outcome. What is the outcome of whatever it is that I am now about to do? What is the result? What is the result that I want is what we call as the outcome. That is of primary importance in NLP. The second is acuity. Acuity means being alert and being aware of all that is happening around us. And the third is flexibility. If we are flexible, we are easily able to move from one area yes to another area no, or from one area no to another area yes, or anywhere in between or around. If that is not there, have you noticed some of the best communicators ever? Who according to you has been the best communicator? Let me ask you all. Hitler? Okay. Any other people you think are the best communicators? Clinton. Obama. Mahatma Gandhi. What made them such great communicators? They inspired people? Okay, yes, you're absolutely right. Any other ideas? So you wanted to say something? Okay.
Made them act accordingly.
Made them act accordingly. All right.
According to the mindset, what he is.
They were sensitive to the feelings of the people.
They could influence the minds of people. Yes, all of you are right. Any other ideas?
spoke a language.
Brilliant. They spoke a language which people understood. If you really look at it, if you have heard any one of these people, Hitler or Obama, Clinton, any good communicator, if you look at it, their communication is extremely flexible. They can talk with the most intelligent people as well as the lowest common person sitting out there. And all of them understand them because their communication is very flexible. At the same time, have you observed that these are the people who are aware of what is going on around them and they respond immediately to anything that happens out of the blue? Have you seen that? Something happens there, they pick up on it and crack a joke on that. These are the people who find out there's a mobile ringing and don't start. They just go on with their flow. They pick up, they are aware, they are acutely aware of everything that is going on around them. And they use whatever can be used during their communication. NLP says when we are dealing with people, when we are dealing with ourselves, if you have these three things, if you have clear defined outcomes, if you have flexibility in your communication, flexibility within yourself, and if you are aware of all that is going around, you are bound to be successful. Do you remember some time back we were speaking about reality and what reality is all about? Do you remember that we were talking about my reality could be different and your reality could be different? Yes? Now if I were to ask you, this is a depiction of a human brain, right? Yes. Are you together? In what all ways can this person understand? How can this person make out what is real and what is not?
5 senses.
Using the 5 senses. Brilliant. Any other ideas? None? Okay. By process of inference. Brilliant. So, if you look at it, the 5 senses, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory and gustatory, sense of smell, touch, vision, so on. All these 5 senses bring in various forms of data. Some say there is a 6th sense, 7th sense. As of now, science knows only these 5. Science says a lot of things science also does not know. So let us stick to these 5 senses. But these 5 senses bring in data to the brain. The brain starts processing it. As soon as this data has hit the brain, it goes through something. The external event, when it reaches inside, initially there are some things that we call as filters. These are nothing but processes of the brain. To understand them better, we call them filters, called deletion, distortion and generalization. Have you played something that we used to call Chinese whispers some time back? Way when we were young? You remember somebody speaks one thing to one person, he narrates it to somebody else and it goes around. By the time it comes back, the message is completely different. That is a case of distortion. The message is being distorted. Now the moment our data reaches the brain, because of what it has learned from the past, distorts that information, deletes some of it, generalizes some of it, so that we understand what is going on. Why does it do all that? Because what science has found out is, anything that happens at any given point of time, there are 2 million bits of information which reach the brain. How many? 2 million. And do you know how much our conscious brain or our mind can actually process at a given point of time? Huh? Lesser than that. Okay, great. How much? Any ideas? Around 1,000 bits?
You said the actual physical process?
The physical process. There are 2 million bits.
100 times of what you said. 100 times.
Okay, 100 times of 2 million can be actually processed. Much more. Science found out that the brain can actually process only 134 bits of information at any given point of time. Per second. We're talking per second here. So there are 2 million bits which are coming inside the brain per second. Just imagine, while we are sitting here there are so many different things that we all experience. There is some data coming inside your body, inside your brain, by way of uneven cooling. One side a bit cooler, one side a bit warmer. In today's world, there are so many radio waves which we cannot consciously understand. But as they keep hitting the body, they translate to signals which your brain does understand.